Sometimes I just wake up in the morning and I think, why on earth did I forget to shoot an introduction? Today we're gonna work on the Supra again, and we're making some side skirts because that is, well, it's something that's been missing. These side skirts are gonna have a total worth of 10 bucks. They're gonna be really cheap, but they look so good. They really fill out the look a lot. But before we even start doing the side skirts, well, one side of the car is a little low because for whatever reason, the coilovers just didn't sit right. So we have two things to do before we can get to work. One, fix the height of the coilovers, and two, take measurements so we know exactly where to mount the splitter. I'm sorry for a little confusing intro. It'll all make sense in about 2 minutes. See ya.
Bruh.
Alright, so a little bit of a scenic location now. I moved and I was gone the whole last week as well, so I've had 2 weeks unable to do any car content, and I apologize. But we're back to working on the side skirts. Now we've measured everything up and it's time to start actually making the brackets to put everything on. Now the way that we're attaching this on is we're gonna drill 4 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then bolt it up to the underside here. But we need to be able to fit the side splitter on as well, which we're gonna be making out of some sheet metal, the same as we use on the front splitter. Also, I apologize for my voice being a little weird right now. I was announcing all last week and absolutely lost my voice, so I'm still recovering, but it's enough where I feel like we're good enough to start filming. So the way that we're gonna mount the sheet metal to the side skirt is with some brackets. So I flipped our gutter side skirt upside down because before we put this on, we need to attach the metal. We are going to do this by using a heat gun to fold these tabs along the end of the gutter to be a 90-degree flat angle across the bottom, and then we're going to use rivets along the bottom to attach the metal to this. So this is gonna seem a little like backtracking, but we're gonna actually mount the gutter to the car first and then immediately take it off. The reason is that trying to drill those holes with the piece of metal on the bottom, kind of shielding us from getting good access, would just make things way too hard. So we're gonna get the holes drilled out, then take the gutter off, mount the sheet of metal, and then get the whole side skirt mounted on. So let's get started and I'll check back in with you later. For the past 5 or so years, I've been using like Harbor Freight cutting wheels, and I went to Harbor Freight to go pick up some more and I got the wrong size, and so I had to go somewhere else to find the right size, and I got some DeWalt ones, and this is the first time I've actually like had some decently nice stuff, and I've used one cutting wheel to do a lot. I trimmed out every single one of these fenders as well as cut out those 2 pieces that we're using for the side skirt. Now the reason that this is impressive is because, no joke, this probably would have taken around 6 discs to do if I was doing this on the Harbor Freight disc. So I mean, even if you go back and look at when I made the front bumper, you can see me pausing to switch discs quite a few times. I think I went through 4 or 5 discs alone trying to cut out the under tray splitter for the front bumper. So this has nothing to do with anything, but it was cool, so I wanted to share it with you. Anyway, let's catch up to where we're at. So currently I have the gutter bolted up to the car and it's holding really well. And in addition, I just finished cutting out these 2 pieces of the side skirts. One's for the opposite side, so we are just using one per side. Now essentially the splitter is just going to bolt up right underneath onto this because these mounts are incredibly solid, so we're not going to need about worrying this falling off by pulling too hard on the gutter. So essentially we're already down to 2 steps remaining. Step 1 is to get this bolted securely to the gutter, and then the second step is just to re-secure this back on, and we're essentially done. With that essentially being it, aside from any trimming that we're gonna have to do, the best next course of action is literally just to get to work. So let's pull the gutter back off, flip out those tabs, and then actually attach the side splitter on permanently. I forgot that I had this really faded sign. I gotta get that hooked up. That's better. The side skirts are on, and despite them being like really off-colored as in wood pattern and white, they look really good. Just the shape of them is very nice. Now I'm out of black spray paint right now, which is why we can't cover these over today, but I really like how they look. The issue is that we have the flares off right now, so it doesn't blend well, and that is our last step for the day. We need to get the flares back on and then trim them to mesh into these side skirts. We're gonna go ahead and get that done now because I'm starting to get antsy to get the car on the ground with the wide body kit on and side skirts for the first time. Side skirts make a huge difference to the look. Like seriously, the car's been looking kind of funny without side skirts, and so I think with this on, it is going to completely transform the look. So let's trim up the flares really quickly. We have 2 problem areas, but it should be fairly simple fixes. Let's take a look. In the front, it's this bottom section right here that's just hitting into the flare, so this middle part can't hit flush. And on the back is the exact same thing, where this bottom area just is hitting the gutter itself, so it's not able to sit flush. We're gonna solve this by trimming out the bottom of each piece, so the parts where it starts to bend in, we're gonna cut there. We're gonna do the same on the back side here, and that should help with the biggest part of the fitment issue, but if it doesn't, we're just gonna continue to trim slowly and slowly until we have it fitting perfectly. That just looks so good. I am happy with this. I absolutely love how it fills that gap between the flares that was missing and made the car look so weird. It looks so much better now. Now the trimming isn't perfect on the back or the front, and it's going to be something that we're going to fix later on down the road once we get towards that step in paint, but that's going to be some slight fabrication, maybe a little trimming. It's stuff that I just don't know exactly where I want to go with it next, so I'm not adjusting it now. And that's even more evident on the front. As you can see, the splitter doesn't actually go all the way up to the front. Now I left there a gap purposely because I'm afraid that this wheel is going to touch the metal and then cut itself, so I gave myself more room than needed. In addition to that, I've always wanted to make one of those racing front boxes on the front of splitter, like little vents, and so having that extra space gives me more wiggle room to play with that. So that's something that's going to be coming in the front to fill out. But man, this looks so good and I'm so happy with it. Again, I apologize for not any uploads in the last 2 or 3 weeks, however long it's been. I apologize. We're back into it now. I moved in. I spent like 2.5 hours just walking around trying to find tools, so that's going to slow a little progress down, but we're off to a good start and we're actually getting really close to starting to prep this thing for paint. The only thing we really have left to do is make that front little box on the side skirts, and then it's time to start prepping for paint. Now that process is going to take a long time because this is going to include filling out every little dent, every little area that isn't perfectly smooth, and areas like the front bumper and other places that are covered in plastic dip, well, they're just going to be a pain. Because even though we plastic dip removed the front bumper, every area that's black is a chip or a divot, so this is going to be completely needing to be stripped off again and sanded down. Same with the hood and the headlights being plastic dip, that all needs to come off, and plastic dip is just a pain when it comes to preparation for paint. But man, look how good that is. So there you go, that's how you make side skirts out of gutters. Now, all in all, cost of this probably around $15 to $20 all in, so really cheap. Definitely fits a $20 look, but it's a huge improvement. Loved it so much. Thank you guys for watching. Check out any of the merch links down below if you want to get yourself a sweatshirt or mug. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Adios.